So now we're going to go over the exponential growth model or decay models that you're most common with, especially if you're given a starting value. So for example, you might say that A is equal to P times 1 plus or minus R to the power of T. So especially for those who are in business, this is probably the model that you're going to be most comfortable with. So A is going to be your final value. This is going to be the initial amount, so however much you put in or however much you're given. R is going to be your rate, and T is going to be equal to the time. So for example, the word problem I have up here, which I will attach the equations or the word problems to this email. A small town of 1,000 people is growing at a rate of 3% per year. How many people will be in the town 5 years from now? So the values that we have are, we don't know A, so we need to find A. P, or our initial value, is going to be 1,000 people, and we're increasing, so we're going to use a plus, right? So I would mark that our rate of increase is at 0.03. You can write it as a percent, but this is how you write it as a decimal, which ultimately will make it easier. And then the time is going to be 5. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to write it over here, and I apologize for my handwriting. Again, I'm left-handed, so it's a little bit difficult. We're going to do A is equal to 1,000 times 1 plus 0.03 to the power of 5. So we can just add this up already. We know that this is going to be 1.03 to the power of 5. Now, in an actual exam, you would have to do this on your own, but because I don't hate you, I will do it for you. So we can take it in our percentage, 1.03 parenthesis to the power of 5 is going to give us 1.159, and obviously it would continue on, but we're just going to keep it relatively simple. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to continue on. So we're going to do 1,000 times 1.159, which I will do here, 1,000, is going to give us 1,159.27 people. Now, obviously, you can't have 0.27 of a person. That's not how people work. So if you're asked on an exam, I would round up. Now from here, let me get my eraser. I apologize if you hear. I apologize about the chair creaking. I am at my grandparents' house and it is quite old. But that being said, that's a very common question that you might see in exams, like how much is it going to increase in 5 years? For example, you might also see if I put in an investment, how much money will I get out afterwards? Another example would be given our previous instructions. So we have a p-value equal to 1,000, a rate increase of 0.03. And this question is saying, how long will it take for there to be 1,500 people? So we know that our A value is going to be 1,500, but we don't know our T. So again, the formula, I will put it up here, is going to be A is equal to P times 1 plus or minus our rate to the power of T. But we don't know what our T is, but let's fill in the details that we already have. So we know that 1,500 is equal to 1,000 times 1 plus 0.03 to the power of T. Now, we don't know what T is just yet. I'm going to simplify a little bit. So we know that this is going to be 1.03 to the power of T times 1,000 is equal to 1,500. Now, I don't know how familiar you guys are with logs, but we'll get to logs in a second. I want to simplify as much as I can. I want to get T on its own as closely as I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 1,000 first divide by 1,000. So then I'm going to get 1.5 is equal to 1.03 to the power of t. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with logs, but you're gonna have to get familiar with them, so I apologize. I'm gonna erase this just so we have a bit more space. Okay, so a log is a different way of writing. It's technically the inverse of an exponential, but it's an easier way to explain it. So we're going to do log with the value that we were already given, which is 1.5. 1.5 is equal to log 1.03 to the power of t. Now, again, I don't know how much you know about logs, but there's something called the power rule, which means that any equation that has an exponent, you can bring it to the front. So you can rewrite it as log 1.5 is equal to t times log 1.03, which is a lot easier to handle. And again, we want to get this guy on its own. So what we can do is we can divide by log 1.03, divide by log 1.03. So then these two will cancel out. And then you will have to do this with a calculator, but I will save you the pain of doing that. I'll do that on my own really quickly, if my calculator would work. 1.5 divided by log 1.03 is going to give me roughly, I don't know if you can see that, 13.717 or 13.72. So if you're asked on an exam, you say that it will take 13.72 years to reach 1,500 people. I hope this was helpful. We can do a similar question with a decay, but I will put that in another video because I don't want to make this one too long.